Helldivers community, your posts have been read, your questions are being answered, at least some of them, and your concerns about next week are now the topic up for discussion. Are we about to head down the same road we took as a community when Killzone dropped into the game? Will it be happening with Halo ODST Helljumpers? Surely not again, right? Which is what we need to take a deep dive into with this one. Hit that sub button to support the channel and ring the notifications bell while you are at it. And now, let's dive into the latest happenings with ODST and Helldivers. Okay, since we've now received two valuable pieces of information about the upcoming ODST Legendary Warbond. The first being that the SMG pistol and shotgun are all going to be light armor penetration, while the assault rifle is medium, along with the second announcement that all of these ODST weapons will not be customizable. We can then start to answer the question of, will these weapons and gear be on par? Will they be better, or will they be lesser versions of what we already have currently in our arsenals? Also, since I've received this question multiple times since the Warbond information was released, it's a relevant topic that is currently ongoing right now within the Helldivers community. Now, ODST is a juicy bit of content to base a Warbond off of. Nobody's disputing that fact. We all love Halo. But the question is out there about the offerings. And I've been asked multiple times point blank about it in voice chat over in Discord while diving with other players. I see it multiple times over on Reddit and of course in the official Helldivers Discord. So I guess what I'm trying to say here is to not take what I'm laying out here in this video as negativity. I'm just delivering the news and I'm talking about the topic. Sort of don't shoot the messenger sort of thing. Know what I'm saying? Now, when we start to take a look at the weapons themselves, you'll get a sense of what the discussion points are. And as you look over the iconic UNSC MA5C assault rifle, and from what has already been disclosed through the official channels, we know this weapon will be coming with medium armor pen, which is AP3, along with a 32-round magazine and 8 spare mags. And by the way, I'm snagging this info off of the Helldivers Wiki, which I'll link down in the video description. Now, going off the tendencies we've seen with past medium armor pen assault rifles versus their light armor pen counterparts, there's a sizable drop-off in base damage. For instance, the standard issue Liberator has 80 base damage and 15 durable damage versus the Liberator Penetrator, which does give players medium armor pen, but loses 20 base damage down to just 60, along with that same durable damage. The Pacifier is actually hit even harder here, with base damage down to 50 and durable damage down to 10 while gaining stun rounds. While the third and final medium pen assault rifle, the Adjudicator, which to be honest is a bit of an outlier for AP3 assault rifles, pulls in 95 base damage and 23 durable damage, but like the Pacifier, does not give players the option to unlock and equip any magazine attachments. In fact, the only ARs that do offer up mag options are the Liberator family. Now the question here is, which is also the dilemma that Arrowhead is facing, is how to make the ODST MA5C with its medium armor pen and no customization a viable option the second it goes live at launch, because there's no muzzle mods, there's no optics, there's no grips or extended magazines there for players to unlock and equip. So what happens if the MA5C arrives with its 32-round base magazine, no optics, no muzzle mods, no barrel attachments, with a base damage of 60 to 70 and 15 durable damage? That would put it close to the same as the Liberator Penetrator, but with no attachments and no extended magazine. Will players be willing to accept that? I mean, I honestly don't know. That's why I'm asking it, and also why I think the topic is still in the community right now as well. A great question for chat is, what would your ideal MA5C within reality, let's keep it real here, look inside of Helldivers? Drop a comment down below, because there are so many questions lingering out there, like, where does the base damage need to be? What's the minimum threshold for you as a player? If you are maining the Liberator Penetrator or the Adjudicator to handle your medium armor pen AR duties, Are you going to put either of those away and use the MA5C if it comes with no extended mags like your Lib Pen, or it comes with far less base damage than your Judy? Players, likewise, have also been asking a lot of questions about the M7S SMG and M90A shotgun, which, like all the weapons in this Warbond, come like they come. No attachments, no modifications. Now, will the M7S SMG be able to match up with the Knight? Can the M90A stack up or scratch that? Will it be able to completely eclipse every other pump action shotty in the game? Both of these weapons are widely discussed right now, and both carry a lot of history and lore and expectations for performance from those that have been a part of the Halo universe, especially that shotgun. Players are expecting this thing to hit like a turbocharged cannon, which it does in Halo, but what if it doesn't meet expectations here in the Helldivers universe? Players are already throwing around terms like, it better be this good, or here's another one, it has to hit this hard or else. And here's where Killzone enters the discussion, because with that previous collaboration, there's precedence here for what Arrowhead might do with Halo ODST. Now, page 1 of the Killzone offerings gave players access to the medium dutiful armor, which was actually pretty good. That passive is useful, along with the STA-52 assault rifle. Remember that one? Yeah. Now, page 2 brought in the lightweight obedient armor, the Plaz 39 accelerator rifle, and the STA-11 SMG. Now, if you want a good test for how well these collaboration weapons will be received with the Helldivers player base, you need to go over and check out helldive.live. Now, you've seen me reference this site in my most loved and most avoided stratagem videos. You've also seen Commissar Kai reference it as well. I'll link in his channel down in the video description. Definitely go check him out because his stuff is top shelf. And I just got to say, for all three factions, the STA-52, the STA-11, along with the accelerator rifle, are consistently the bottom 3 or in the bottom 4 for player selections when it comes to rocking a primary weapon. But of course, some of that could come down to players not having them in their inventories. I recognize that fact because of what happened when the Killzone store went live and the fact that we haven't seen it back in the rotation since then. But there's another, I think, much more major contributing factor to players not selecting these weapons, and it comes down to them being locked and therefore not allowing for any customization or upgrades. Why take the STA-52 into Super Helldive difficulty when you can take the standard Rank 1 Liberator, which the STA-52 matches in every statistical category, but for the Liberator, you can earn and equip those upgrades, like the all-important extended mag options, which immediately focuses our attention back at Arrowhead and what they might do with these ODST weapons. Do they go conservative and bring out an assault rifle somewhere between the Liberator, Penetrator, and Adjudicator for base and durable damage, knowing full well that it has no unlocks, it has no attachments, and therefore it cannot be upgraded? Or do they essentially pre-buff the ODST weapons up to at least match the best-in-class contenders in each weapon category? If the MA5C is going to have a base mag size of 32, that's just 2 rounds more than what the Adjudicator comes equipped with. So why not at least have it match the Judy for 95 base damage? But then again, will that be enough for players? Will it satisfy them if the ODST weapons come pre-buffed to match the best in class for each archetype? Or will these new weapons have to excel just to be accepted? There's certainly that high expectation in terms of players' power fantasy when it comes to Halo. Those weapons hit hard, and they feature armor penetration, and this discussion is strongest when it comes to that of the M90A shotgun. Light armor penetration has already turned some players away from the idea of using this iconic shotty, and if it fails to send enemy targets flying clear across the map, it may be seen as not true to Halo, and therefore underwhelming. Again, I'm not dunking on any of this new gear, I'm just airing out this topic, which also includes the armor sets. Questions have arisen as to why both armor sets are medium armor. If the Recon armor is said to be sleeker and stealthier than that of the Helljumper armor, why is it not then light armor? There's also been the counterpoint that the ODST armors are plate armors and therefore exceedingly heavy, which wouldn't qualify to be categorized as lightweight armor. Even the armor passive itself has received some attention and discussion within the community, with players asking if this is truly Arrowhead's version of a stealth warbond, why not replace the 30% POI range detection with 30% reduced visual detection, so at least it matches that of the recon armor? What about the reduced noise passive that comes with this armor? How effective will that be for stealth, seeing as how it doesn't address visual detection, which even for low-level chaff is set to 40 meters? There's also a lot of questions swirling around about the suppressors on the pistol and SMG. How much will those do to reduce the weapon sound levels, which is something that is not disclosed in the game's UI? Stealth divers have long known that using sidearms and plasma weapons are best for keeping your enemy detection levels as low as possible, but how much, if any, will these suppressed weapons help lower that threat? So, up to this point, a lot of topics and questions out there for you, my viewers, but you know me, I always try to get in my 2 cents here as well, and if I were Arrowhead, here's exactly what I would do. So first, for the weapons, I would make them the outliers for each category. Pre-buff those suckers, make them better than anything we currently have in the assault rifle, SMG, shotgun, and sidearm categories. Now, you may sit out there and ask why. Well, first off, this is a massive day for Helldivers. It's also a massive day for Halo, and I'm not gonna lie, it's a monumental day for both PlayStation and Xbox as we finally get the opportunity to dive together. Nobody wants or needs the discussion being focused on how underwhelming this, that, or the other feels in the ODST Warbond. Give that AR a standard extended mag, like a combination of something like 90 base damage and 45 rounds, or even 80 base damage and 60 rounds. Make it stand out. Make it feel like Halo. Make it feel powerful. Same with the SMG. It needs to outshine the Knight, and it needs to outshine the Reprimand. The SOCOM pistol needs something to make it better than the Peacemaker, and the shotgun, ooh, I'd go in there and crank that base damage up to absurd levels. If it's truly going to launch with light armor pen, it needs to hit for something like 2 to 3 times harder than any other pump action shotty. For the armor, even though it may not fit exactly with this plate armor being heavy theory, I'd swap that recon armor over into the light category, or even a lightweight tweener setup with slightly more armor than a standard lightweight setup, but slightly less stamina. Also, if we are dabbling in stealth, then let's go full stealth. 86 that POI detection in the passive, and instead add in reduced visual detection to match that of less sound made by the player. And if we're going to be using weapons with suppressors, then the positive effects of reduced threat detection and staying off of the pissed off enemies list needs to be massively buffed. Now, there may be some cries around the community pushing the concept of we need more balance or realism, but this is Halo. It's a very special day, and in the end, it needs to match up with what players have come to expect from that franchise. Also, and just kind of throwing this off script in at the end, if I were at Arrowhead and in charge of this project and I just did all of those changes, I'd do it on the down low. I'd tell no one and just surprise the hell out of the players next week when they start to unlock the Warbond items, thinking it was one way, but receiving something so much more. Helldivers has always been at its best when players have no advance notice, just kind of finding out in the heat of the moment. Super buffed weapons and reworked armor passives would send a jolt of electricity through the player base, making an already special day that much better. Just keeping it real with you, I've been here since the start, and I've seen all these Warbonds come and go. And what I want us all, that's Arrowhead, Xbox, PlayStation, PC players, any and everyone that is a part of this community, again, what I want us all to be able to avoid are problems that we can see coming 100 miles away and we still do nothing, just watching them slam straight into our faces. Even with ODST, even with Halo and Xbox all in the mix, that might not be enough to overcome a Warbond where the weapons are instantly overshadowed by our current armory, and they become talking points about what could have been instead of what they are. You know what I mean? But now, here's where you get to chime in with your comments and feedback. Will the mystique of Halo ODST be enough to overcome underwhelming weapon options? Are you expecting these weapons to hit like in Halo, and would you do the same as I suggested and just go in there and pre-buff these weapons and rework the armor in preparation for a stealth drop next week? Never say never, right? And Arrowhead would have the time to pull it off if they decide to go that route. If you happen to like the video, please hit subscribe and ring the notifications bell. Thanks to all of our current channel members, for without your continued support, content like this would not be possible. And until the next one, this is LtBuzzLitebeer, signing off.